Hello everyone, this is a quick tutorial on how to make a custom quest using a quest Reborn. Before we start, a quest Reborn does not interact with any online portions of the game. It's completely offline, and all of the dialogue is custom rendered boxes using assets pulled from the game. So this doesn't really interact with the game all that much, aside from maybe spawning some local NPCs. So with that out of the way, we're going to go and fill this out. So our author is going to be Sebi. We're going to call this tutorial quest 2. For the description, this is a tutorial, and for the thumbnail, I'm going to quickly hit save, and we're going to click open directory here, and I'm going to copy and paste a thumbnail here, and this thumbnail, I'm just going to copy paste the name, and the quest thumbnail is going to go here. And we are going to add our first dominant objective. Dominant objectives move in sequential order from top to bottom. And I'll kind of have a number here, so this is objective 0. Our first objective, this will be the quest start. We're going to add some dialogue, and we're going to call our NPC citizen, and they might say something like, "Help, I dropped something super important. Can you help me?" And the player might say something like, "Why can't you find the item yourself?" And we might have a second choice for like, "Sure, we'll find, or I'll find it for you." And then we'll add a dialogue number to jump to. Looks like it's kind of cut off here in the text, but choice number 1 is going to jump to dialogue number 1. Choice 2 will jump to dialogue number 2. And now we're going to add dialogue number 1 and dialogue number 2. And these are going to be the NPC responding to the player's choices. So for dialogue 1, we're going to write, "Well, the reason I can't find it myself is because I stepped in glue, then stood here so long that I got stuck." And then dialogue number 2 will be something like, "Oh, thank you so much." And then we're going to go to dialogue number 1. We're going to give it an ending behavior. So by default, it's just going to go to dialogue number 2. But we want to actually skip over dialogue number 2. And we're going to add a third dialogue called dialogue number 3. So this will jump to dialogue number 3. Dialogue number 2, it's going to go to dialogue number 3 no matter what, but I'm just going to be safe, and we're going to also say this skips to dialogue number 3. And I'm going to add dialogue number 3, and this is for the NPC will give us some information. So it'll be like, "There's 4 places I remember being. Here's a map." And we're going to click save. You can see the objective. Now we're going through, and we're going through. So why can't you find the name yourself? And then that's the end of the quest because there's only one objective. We're going to give it a name, so we'll call this quest start. And we're going to add another objective, another dominant objective. This objective will be called "Return to the citizen." And we're going to add a dialogue here or the citizen thanks us for finding the item. So, thank you so much for finding this. I didn't think I would see this stuff again. Alright, so we're going to get into something called a sub-objective. Sub-objectives are children objectives that have to be completed before the dominant objective that they are part of can be interacted with. And sub-objectives can be done completely out of order. They are not sequential. So we're going to add 4 different sub-objectives, and they're just going to be called search the area. And now we're going to run around and we're going to learn how to set objective coordinates. So we're going to walk over here, set objective coordinates. We're going to edit this other search area. We're going to give it some coordinates. So we basically just kind of physically walk to where we want the objective to be. And we set the objective coordinates. Now I want to do something special. I want to do a lookout by each of the objectives. So I'm just going to do a lookout. What? Okay, I think I just have the animation modded with something else. Maybe that's what's happening. So yeah, we're not going to worry about that. But we can see that we did emote ID 22. And each of these objectives, I'm going to change them from being a normal interaction where we click to being a do emote. And that's 22. Oh. 22. 22. And 22. And actually I might write lookout at the area. Yes, so the player knows that they gotta do an emote. And for each objective, I might add a thing. So system, you find a scarf. The next objective, system, you find a wallet. The next one, you find a flower, and you find a carrot, because that's all I can think of at the moment. All right, so we're ready to save. And we're going to reset our quest progress. Oh, and one more thing, we need to give our NPC a look. So we're going to go to edit NPC appearance. we got this NPC creation list window. We're going to click add, and then we're going to call them citizen, and we are going to give it an MCDF file. So MCDF files are usually used for setting appearances in GPOs. You can use them in A Quest Reborn to set up modified appearances for your custom NPCs. So we're going to do that. I'm going to hit save for an open directory. And we're going to copy and paste MCDF that matches that name. And now we have an NPC here. So let's give this a quick test. Let's see how it works. So if we look here, we can make our choices. Now if we open up our map, here is our quest objectives we got to go to. So and if I recall, okay, we're at the objective, and we should be able to do a lookout. And we'll do another slash lookout over here. And now I can talk to the NPC. And now the quest is over. So there's a few other things that we can kind of quickly go over. So back when we went to our branching quest thing, I showed off making dialogue skip around by making choices, but you can also have it go into a branching subquest. So a subquest is basically another quest inside of a quest that has its own dominant objectives, effectively becomes its own path. If you want a dialogue choice to really go into a hard set path of a different quest, you can do that. We can change the box style, so you have all these different box styles. You can have different backgrounds, so you can have an image for slideshows. You can have a video file for full motion video cinematics, if you really want to do that. We can make it so that, okay, normal interaction to trigger an objective, doing an emote can trigger an objective, saying a certain phrase can trigger an objective, killing an enemy can also trigger an objective, or I guess a better way would be to satisfy an objective. Each dialogue has a thing called condition for dialogue to occur. By default, it's none, but you can make it so that if somebody has completed a specific objective ID, the NPC will say something. So let's say you have a quest line where, let's say you broke somebody's favorite thing in the whole wide world. You had an option not to do it, but you did it. Another quest line can reference that choice that you made in a different quest line and react to it based on the objective ID that's set here. And also you can have it happen in the exact same quest too. You can also have different dialogue ending behaviors. So I showed off having it where a dialogue, when it's reached, will skip to another dialogue number. But you can also make it so that a dialogue, when it's hit, will end the conversation. You can make it so that it will end the conversation, but it doesn't progress the objective, meaning you gotta talk to the NPC again. You can have another one where the dialogue ends early, but it skips to a numbered objective. So you could have choices that skip to a certain objective, and you can have objectives that do or don't happen based on the player's choices. So I think I cover, and also you can make it so that objectives don't show up on the map. So if you want to do a GeoGuessr quest, you can do that. And what else is there to cover? I think that's everything. Or actually, one last thing. You can also appearance swap mid-conversation. So if you want to have a character that changes their appearance based on certain conditions, you can have an NPC change their appearance mid-conversation. Also, you can have the NPC perform an emote when you reach certain dialogue. You may have noticed that if I do an animation or do an emote while this window is open, so if I do happy, it'll say emote 48, body animation ID 709. So if I want to have a character do the happy emote, I can set the body expression ID for this a dialogue to 709. And if I want to have it react to an emote ID for an objective, I would write 48 under the do emotes. Yeah, that's everything, I think. Hopefully this makes sense. It's not too overwhelming. There is a bunch of stuff where you'll just have to play around and find out. There's things that this might be able to do that I haven't conceived of yet as far as possibilities. So yeah, let your imagination go wild, and I can't wait to see what people create. So yeah, that's everything. I'll see you guys next time.